Hello, and thanks for joining us. Today's lesson will be Parsvattonasana, which is a forward fold, and it's also known as pyramid pose. In today's lesson, we will be using blocks. So if you do not own blocks, you can grab books and stack some books up in order to give you the same feedback that we are going to work on in today's class. So let's get started. Take your blocks and place them up at the top of your mat. I'm going to move away my right block just so you can see my feet in the way I set them up. So bring your right foot forward and your left foot back. Now, imagine you're standing on a train track. Here's one rail, here's the other rail. And you have one foot on one rail and you have the other foot on the other rail. Depending on your balance, might depend on how wide you are. If you're feeling a little bit shaky, you can go a little bit wider. I'm just going to move back a little bit so you can see me here in the frame. Now, both sets of toes face forward. Again, if your balance is a little bit off, it's okay to pivot your back heel just ever so slightly in. All right, and I'm going to just reset again. So both sets of toes are facing forward, and make sure your back heel is able to be heavy. And what I mean by that is if you become too wide in this pose, your back heel will be off the floor. That's not what we want. So bring your back heel in enough where your back heel can comfortably press flat down on the floor. It's not a wide-legged pose. It's not a wide stance. Have your blocks on either side of your foot, your front foot. I'm just going to move that away again, just so you can see I'm going to pretend I have a block here. Now, bring your hands to your hips. Hips are square, which means hips face forward or the front of your pelvis faces forward. Root down in both feet. Make sure you can press evenly into both feet and bring your hands to your hips. Lift your chest. Bring your elbows, the insides of your upper arms towards each other. Lift your chest a little more and put some weight into your back heel. Aim your tailbone in. Lift your thigh muscles. Lift your quadriceps. Tone your thigh muscles. Straight knees. Right? A lot of setup here. Hips are square. Fronts of your pelvis are facing forward. Lift your chest. Lift your chest. Now from here, keep that weight in your back foot as you come forward. Lift your chest, come forward, okay? And I'm going to purposely, I can feel my right hip coming forward, and that's fine. Now I'm going to use my blocks to bring my heart forward and to pull back, right? Pull back in that front hip. So that right hip pulls back, left hip comes forward. Inside of that left leg, aim it towards the ceiling. Lift your chest, right? So I'm constantly trying to even out my hips. So my right hip goes back, left hip goes forward. Now I press into the big toe mound of my right foot, and I lengthen through my sides. Okay, I use my blocks to get me long. This is a lot. And then I bring my hands to my hips, and I come back up. Let's switch sides, everybody. Left foot forward, right foot back. I'll show you again. I'm just going to put my block here. I root down into that back foot. My thigh bones are lifted. Thigh bones are lifted. What happens on that front foot, I don't know if you've noticed, you roll off to the side. See how my whole leg rolls off to the side and my hip comes out. So I want to root down into that front foot and lift so my thigh bone faces forward. Same thing, get heavy in that back foot. Back, so this would be my right. So your right thigh bone faces forward, quadricep is lifted. Quadriceps are lifted. Lift your chest, get heavy in that right foot. Stay heavy, elbows come towards each other. Press back with that left foot and come forward. Parsvattonasana. Right? I'm going pretend I have a block here, just so you guys can see. Now, I roll in and back. So my left hip presses back, my right hip comes forward, and I lift my chest. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense for you. Knees are straight. I press into that back heel. I don't want to get light in the back heel. I lift, press my thigh bones back, hands to my hips, back up. Switch sides. Right foot forward, left foot back. This time, and you see, I'm going to bend my knee a little bit here, just to kind of get myself situated. I'm going to show you the lower end, and then eventually no blocks, right? So depending on your practice, depends on what you're going to do in this second variation. Same setup. I almost want to feel like when I come down into my fold, I can put a cup of tea right on my tailbone or right on my sacrum, which is my low back, and that cup of tea will be perfectly even. And that comes from my hips as I topple over forward from here. Okay, so same thing. I root down into my left foot, root down into my right foot. I lift my thigh muscles, lift my chest, tailbone in. Then it's like I'm pushing off from my back inner heel. I push off from my back inner heel. I come down and lift my chest, right? So my front hip back, I create some space on that right side. I root down into my right big toe. I press into that back heel. Inside of my back leg rolls up. I lengthen, so if you're on lower, now I'm going to come all the way down, just so you guys can see. Everything is still engaged. I come down, and then finally my back rounds, right? So this hip still wants to come forward. I still want to create that space, and I still want to aim the inside of my back leg back. Then I press into that back heel, hands to my hips, and I come up, hopefully. And from here, switch sides. Press into that back heel. Make sure you can get nice and heavy in that back leg. Lift your chest. Lift your thigh muscles, tailbones down. Right, lift, get heavy. Now it's the right side, correct? Yes, that's correct. It's the right side. And now I press. I come forward. Front thigh rolls in. Back thigh rolls in, front thigh rolls back. And I come down. I'm going to pretend I have my block here. I want my low back to be such that I can put a cup of tea right here. I lift, roll in, I lift, roll back. Right, so I'm here, lengthening. And then I come down with not a waver in the weight in my feet. But I still refine it, right? I lift, roll in, I lift, pull my left hip back. Hands to my hips, still have that weight in the back heel, and I come all the way up. Back foot meets the front. And that, my friends, is Parsvattonasana, pyramid pose. Thank you for joining me. You can find out a little more about Geneve Yoga at www.geneveyoga.com. Thank you for joining me. Stay well. Namaste.